Barcelona wasn't just a football club, they were a footballing empire. A team that played the game like an art form, dominated world football, and built an identity that was admired across the globe. Their philosophy? Joga Bonito, total control, absolute magic. But then, everything came crashing down. The empire collapsed. Years of mismanagement, reckless spending, and shocking decisions sent Barcelona from the top of the football world to rock bottom. A club that once dictated football was now struggling to survive. They lost their leader, their identity, and their dominance. But just when the world thought it was over, Barcelona did what only the greatest can do. They fought back. This is the rise, fall, and rise again of FC Barcelona. A story of greatness, downfall, and redemption. Stay until the end, because this one's unforgettable. There was a time when Barcelona didn't just play football, they redefined it. A club that took the sport to an art form, a philosophy so dominant, so mesmerizing, that teams feared stepping onto the pitch against them. It all started in the early 90s, when Johan Cruyff introduced total football, the tiki-taka technique to Barcelona. Possession-based, fast-paced, and mesmerizing to watch. This wasn't just football, it was a revolution. Cruyff's dream was simple: control the game, move the ball like an orchestra, and make the opposition run until they beg for mercy. And this philosophy would go on to define Barcelona's DNA forever. Barcelona was in crisis. They had lost their way. But then came Ronaldinho, the man who didn't just play football, he danced with the ball. With his arrival, everything changed. Camp Nou came alive again. Titles followed, and most importantly, he inspired the next generation. If Cruyff was the architect, Pep Guardiola was the executioner. His arrival in 2008 transformed Barcelona into the greatest team ever assembled. With Xavi and Iniesta controlling the game, Messi became a superhuman, and a system so perfect it felt unfair. Barcelona were untouchable. In 2009, Barcelona humiliated Manchester United in the Champions League final, playing football at a level never seen before. Sir Alex Ferguson's team looked like spectators to a masterpiece. 2 years later, they did it again. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, unstoppable. That night, Ferguson admitted they're the best team he had ever faced. This was football perfection, a team so dominant that even their rivals had to stand and applaud. Between 2008 and 2015, Barcelona won everything. 3 Champions League titles, 6 La Liga titles, 2 trebles, countless Ballon d'Ors for Messi. This was an era of total dominance. They didn't just win, they made football beautiful. But as history has shown us, every dynasty eventually crumbles. And for Barcelona, the cracks were about to appear. Barcelona had reached the very top, but the thing about being at the top, there's only one way to go from there. The first signs of decline weren't immediate, but they were there. Pep left, then Xavi and Iniesta. The midfield that ran football was gone, and Barcelona failed to replace them. Instead of planning for the future, Barcelona started spending big money on the wrong players. In response, Barcelona panicked and spent €100 million each on Ousmane Dembele, Philippe Coutinho, and Antoine Griezmann. How did that work out? Coutinho ended up scoring against Barcelona in an 8-2 humiliation. You couldn't make this up. The world was watching in shock. This was not the Barcelona that terrified teams. This was a club getting picked apart on the biggest stage. In 2019, Liverpool produced one of the greatest comebacks in football history. Barcelona walked into Anfield with a 4-0 lead and left in tears. And just when fans thought it couldn't get worse, it did. Bayern Munich thrashed Barcelona in an 8-2 final score game. Not a typo, 8-2. This wasn't just a defeat, this was the destruction of an empire. As if getting embarrassed on the pitch wasn't enough, Barcelona was now drowning in financial chaos. They had the highest wage bill in football history, but were bankrupt. Years of reckless spending caught up, and suddenly, Barcelona couldn't even afford to keep Messi. In 2021, the impossible happened. Messi was forced to leave. Not because he wanted to, not because he wasn't good enough, because Barcelona simply couldn't afford him. Barcelona without Messi? It felt wrong. The club had lost its identity, its leader, its soul. And for many, this was the moment Barcelona truly fell. Without Messi, Barcelona wasn't just struggling, they were unrecognizable. They crashed out of the Champions League before the knockout rounds, something that hadn't happened in 2 decades. the club was in shambles. No money, no trophies, no identity. The once great Barcelona had become a shadow of itself. But football, it's unpredictable. And just when the world counted Barcelona out, they found a way back. Every fall has a rise waiting to happen. Barcelona, well, they hit rock bottom. But football doesn't wait for broken teams. It demands a response. And for Barcelona, that response started with a familiar face. In 2021, Barcelona turned to one of their greatest midfielders ever, Xavi Hernandez. He wasn't just a former player, he was the symbol of the golden era, a man who understood what Barcelona was supposed to be. He brought back the Barcelona DNA, tiki-taka, high pressing, playing football the right way. And while results didn't change overnight, there was a sense that maybe, just maybe, something special was happening. With financial ruin limiting big signings, Barcelona had to do something they once did better than anyone else: trust the youth. And out of the shadows, a new generation was born. Pedri, the magician in midfield. Gavi, the fearless warrior. Ansu Fati, carrying the legendary number 10 shirt. Barcelona's future had arrived. This wasn't the Barcelona of Messi, Xavi and Iniesta, but it was a Barcelona rebuilding itself from the ground up. But let's be honest, youth alone wasn't enough. Barcelona needed experience, so they made some smart moves. They brought in Robert Lewandowski, a goal machine who instantly became the leader of the attack. They added depth, balance, and suddenly, Barcelona looked like contenders again. And then, in 2023, Barcelona were the champions of Spain once again. It wasn't the Champions League, it wasn't the golden era, but it was proof that Barcelona was back. Barcelona's story isn't just about football. It's a lesson in success, failure, and resilience. And whether you're a football fan or not, there's a lot to learn from their journey. 1. Success doesn't last forever. When you're at the top, it's easy to believe it'll last forever. Barcelona ruled football for over a decade, but even the greatest empires fall when they stop evolving. This is true in life too, whether it's business, careers, or personal growth. If you get too comfortable, failure will catch up with you. 2. Bad decisions have consequences. Barcelona's downfall wasn't random, it was self-inflicted. Years of reckless spending, bad contracts, and ignoring problems ultimately led to disaster. The same applies in real life. Bad financial choices can ruin anyone, no matter how successful they once were. Always plan for the future. 3. Adapt or get left behind. When Barcelona lost Messi, many thought they were finished, but instead of giving up, they adapted, rebuilt, and trusted new talent. Life is unpredictable. If you refuse to change, you'll fall behind, but if you're willing to evolve, there's always a way out. 4. Never count yourself out. Barcelona went from being the best team in the world to absolute rock bottom, but they fought back, and they're still fighting. No matter how bad things get, you can always bounce back. Just like Barcelona, the only true failure is giving up. Barcelona's journey has been a roller coaster, from ruling football with unstoppable dominance to hitting rock bottom with financial ruin and humiliating defeats, and now slowly rising again. Their story isn't over. The potential is there, the young talent is promising, but can Barcelona truly return to the heights of their golden era? Or will history repeat itself? What do you think? Is Barcelona's future bright, or are they still far from their former glory? Let us know in the comments. And if you love this deep dive into football's greatest stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.